welcome back to my channel. My name is Vivian. How you are doing? Hope you're good and fine. Today I'm going to be talking about what are your rights as an expectant mom and what you should be entitled to, what you should know, and what you are entitled to in the UK, especially during this period. I know during this lockdown, a lot of people have come pregnant. Congratulations to every expectant mother, and a lot of you have given birth. Congratulations to everyone who's giving birth. And hope you're nesting well and hope you're rooming in well with your babies. However, I'm making this video for those who may be concerned about what their rights to and what should be expected of them during this period, especially during this whole risk prone period. What you should do, what support is available for you as a pregnant working mother in the hospital, in the NHS, in the care home, wherever it is you are. There are guidelines that protect you and you should know about this. So if you're interested in this, do stick right to the end. All right, so first off, you're pregnant and you know you're pregnant. Congratulations to you. You've made this known to your manager. Most appropriately, most managers will make you aware of what you should be expected to know and what your rights are by way of your maternity leave policy. So what you should do first off is to request for a maternity leave policy if your manager has not given you one. Now, what I do find is that a lot of people do not know what they're entitled to. They're confused and they begin to make a lot of mistakes and begin to make a lot of assumptions. Now, this happened to me when I came to the UK the first time. So I'm making this video to make that very easy for you and for you to have the first-hand information. And for those who are still coming to the UK, who are going to be here, those who are pregnant, those who are coming in and starting a new job, be rest assured that you will fine and nothing is going to happen to you. So we're going to start with the category of those who are coming to the UK as overseas nurses and found out they are pregnant. So usually you're supposed to tell your manager that you're pregnant, but if you hold the news till you get to the UK, if you keep the news of your pregnancy from your managers till you come to the UK and begin to work, I would advise you at least 3 months into working to let them know about your pregnancy, of which most of the times your pregnancy will begin to show. So if you let your manager know that you are pregnant, the first thing they'll be doing is to congratulate you as always and will let you know that you have all the support that you need. Now, if you do not get this response or feedback from them, then just know that that manager is just being fishy, but that's not right. As a pregnant woman in the UK or as a pregnant working nurse in the UK, you are protected by the NHS and your rights to work are protected. As a matter of fact, you are protected fully. Your job is protected. Your position is protected. As far as you are, you're even entitled to have days off to go for your maternity checkup or your antenatal checkup with your midwife in the GP surgeries. So if you have told your manager about this, ideally you should be given a maternity leave policy where you should read and know what the law is and what the policy of your NHS or your care home is about. Now, the policy of maternity leave in NHS, private hospitals and care home differ greatly. However, I'm going to let you know what the maternity policies in most trusts are and what you should expect. What you should expect is that you are entitled to at least 52 weeks of annual of maternity leave, which is equivalent to 1 year of maternity leave, and you are equivalent to get 9 months paid maternity leave. Now, this 9 months paid maternity leave is the period in which you're going to be paid in the period of 1 year, and the 3 months after in this 1 year are not paid for. So what you find out is that most nurses go back to work after 9 months because they're no longer being paid. So that is up to you. Whatever your family situations are, you can decide to go back to work. However, if you think you can stay back, you can stay back and take care of your family, take care of your children, and go back after a year. Now, what else are you entitled to? You're entitled to time off to go for your antenatal checkup, and you're entitled to time off as sick. Now, when you're on maternity or when you're pregnant, anytime you take off due to sickness that is pregnancy related is not accounted into your sickness policy. Now, we do know in the NHS, when you're sick and you go sick consecutively within a 3 months period up to 3 times, you're usually asked to come and have a first formal, it's usually called, where you are told that to explain what's happening with you, you're told that this is a formal notice of your sickness absences and that probably this is not something that is expected of you. So When you're pregnant, any sickness absences you have that are related to pregnancies, like morning sickness, whatever it is that you get sick of and you go off sick of that is pregnancy related, is usually not counted in your sickness policy. That is to say, it's not accounted to you as being sick, but just seen as pregnancy related symptom. So you are free to go home and have a rest. So if you're working and you feel you're under pressure, go see your GP, take some time off, at least even up to a week, and you can self-certify that you have been ill for 1 week and come back to work. The other thing you're entitled to as an NHS worker is ability to return to the post in which you left before you went on maternity leave. Okay, so if for instance you're working as a band 5 nurse in a hospital in the ward, you have the right to come back in the same post, or even if it's not the same post. For instance, you working as a band 5 nurse in a ward, you are expected to come back into a band 5 post or an equivalent post in the hospital, because you know most of the times in chairs, when somebody goes off, somebody else is brought in to replace your role just to ensure there's enough work balance. However, after you finish your maternity leave, you should be able to go back into your previous role or into another equivalent role, and you should be able to get everything that you're entitled to as a band 5 nurse. Now, the other thing you're entitled to is that you should be able to be up to date to everything that is happening in your trust. So for instance, you are at home and there are vacancies going on in the hospital, you should be aware. Usually you're going to be given emails and communications telling you everything that is happening. If there are job offers, recruitment will send you like an email or something for you to apply if you're interested. And that you are on maternity leave or that you're pregnant does not mean you cannot apply for those posts, attend an interview, or be granted a job. You are basically treated like every other person. But we know that most of the times there may be preference to others who are already working. However, you can actually apply for other posts against if you resuming after your maternity leave. The other thing you are entitled to as an NHS nurse is that you are entitled to be treated like every other person. Okay, so you should not be discriminated against because you're pregnant. Nobody should treat you unfairly because you're pregnant. Nothing should be prevented from getting to you because you're pregnant. You should have equal rights with everybody. It is the equality right. So every person should be treated equally and fairly without any prejudice because you are pregnant. Now, unfortunately, we do know that sometimes pregnancies end earlier, which is unfortunately is a truth and the irony of life. However, you should know what you're entitled to if you have pregnancy losses in the NHS. So if you have a pregnancy loss that happened before the 24th week of gestation, it is usually known as a late miscarriage. Now, a late miscarriage is one in which you lose a pregnancy before the 24th week of gestation and the pregnancy is not yet up to 24 weeks. Now, you are not entitled to any maternity leave. However, you are entitled to some time off. And also you can be entitled to some sick pay off, and even sometimes you can even get extra time off if you request from your GP. Now, if you think you need more time off after you experience a late miscarriage, you can request from your GP, and usually you're able to give you a lot of time off work, even if it is more than the period of time which your sickness allowance allows you to stay off. And during this period, they're going to be paid normal sickness of salaries, and then after that you are expected to resume back to work. And any other sickness you have is going to be accounted as sickness absence. So the only advice is, if for instance you don't want to come back after those off, you can request for a long period of sickness absence with your GP, so that accounts for only one episode of sickness off. Now, if you have a pregnancy loss that happens after the 24th week of pregnancy or after the 24th week of pregnancy, this is usually termed as or treated as if you had a live pregnancy or a live baby. So if you have a pregnancy loss at 24 weeks or a pregnancy loss happened after 24 weeks, you're really treated as someone who has had a normal live baby. Okay, so this is a very, very painful situation. However, this is something that happened. However, if you have a pregnancy loss after 24 weeks or on 24 weeks of pregnancy, you are entitled to receive full maternity pay and full maternity benefits, which are your 9 months paid maternity leave and 3 months of unpaid. So it's your choice how long you want to stay on your maternity leave. Okay, so that's it for the timelines that you should be particular about is having an early miscarriage, a late miscarriage, and a child loss after or at the 24 week of pregnancy. Now these are the timelines that are important for you if you are in the NHS, and if you have a pregnancy loss before 24 weeks, you will just be treated as every normal person and you will not be entitled to any benefits except during late pregnancies, late miscarriages. However, if you have a pregnancy loss after 24 weeks, you are treated as though you had a live baby. Now, if you are in the private sector, most private sectors have a 6-month maternity leave policy, whereas you are paid for your maternity leave and you're expected to return back to work. So find out from your private hospital or your private care organization what their policy is on maternity leave. But most that I've seen usually have maternity leave of up to 6 months that is paid off for, and you're expected to come back to work. The same thing with care homes. This maternity leave policy are usually drafted almost alike. So if you find yourself in a situation where you find yourself pregnant and you're just a new nurse who's just arriving into the UK, do not be bothered, do not be perturbed. Just to know that you are well provided for. You should not be discriminated against. If you feel tired of, get a time off work and come back to work. You can self-certify yourself for up to a week. Sometimes you just need to rest, and you should also have a assessment with your manager. This is a health risk assessment with your manager. So if there are any issues your GP or your midwife has picked up during your pregnancy, you should share this with your manager, and they should make reasonable adjustments for you at your place of work just to support you through your pregnancy and through your delivery of your baby. And this is me hoping that you all have a beautiful pregnancy and a beautiful childbirth story and journey, and that you all come out at the end with live beautiful babies. And congratulations to everyone who's had their babies. I hope you have fun taking care of them. And if you do have any questions on maternity benefits or maternity leaves in the UK, do well to ask your questions and I'll do my best to answer. Now, during this whole period where everything is risky and you're exposed, they have said that this whole situation does not affect you being pregnant, and that you can even take the vaccine. However, you have the right to choose if you want to take the vaccine or not. Remember, you're offered whooping cough vaccine. You have the right to choose it and you have the right to decline it. Whichever decision you make is totally up to you. However, do know that you are well protected and you can keep yourself safe during this period. Then there is a policy that has been introduced by the NHS for pregnant women and classified as shielding, and it protects you from being more exposed as you go towards the end of your pregnancy. Towards your 3rd trimester in pregnancy, about the 28th week, you will be expected to go on shielding. Now, this is called a maternity or a medical suspension is what it's called in my trust. I don't know what it's going to be called in your own trust. However, it's just basically like telling somebody who is prone to a risk of contracting an infection to go home and shield, so they are not being put in the front line and then risking having them and their babies affected by this whole situation. So if you are pregnant, do know that towards around your 28 weeks in pregnancy or thereafter, you're expected to shield. You should discuss this with your manager to find out what is obtainable in your trust. However, I do know that you're expected to shield, just like we have diabetics and some other group of people, and even the BAME community who are over 50. There's some people who are working from home and those who are shielding. For pregnant nurses, you're expected to shield from after the 28th week of pregnancy. So do find out from your manager what is obtainable in your trust. Now, from that time up until you begin your maternity leave, you're going to still be paid. However, you are going to be staying at home, and then 2 weeks before you deliver, your maternity leave will commence. However, if you deliver before then, you should let your manager know so they can commence your maternity leave, because your maternity leave begins 2 weeks before you deliver, or your expected date of delivery, or anytime your baby decides to arrive. So if, for instance, you have an early baby, your maternity leave starts the day your baby is born. So those are the things you should know about maternity leave. If you do have any question you want to ask me, I'll do my best to answer. Thank you for watching. I love you all as always. Bye for now.